All right, welcome back, my children. We're back here with Charles Astor. And Charles, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us what we're about to see tonight, and tell us any questions you were going to talk about.
All right, so my name's Charles, live in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Have a powerlifting background, but then I stopped doing any physical activity basically for maybe a good 7 years. And then I just
Was it because of a woman?
No, it's just because of college and a job.
Some people say there's a woman to blame.
I am married, so there. I blame her enough though, so I'm trying to not blame her tonight. Although
So when some people say there's a woman to blame, but you know that it's your own damn fault.
Right. It's definitely my fault. Really, I just I did a powerlifting meet, and I was just tired of lifting weights. Like I hated it at that point.
Then I don't know if I'm the right coach for you who hate lifting weights, because pretty much my answer to everything is to lift more weights.
Well, really, it's squats. Squats is what I hate. So I will. Well, I do squats, but with the safety squat bar. I'll never do another squat with a straight bar. I hate them. And then so basically I've been casually watching arm wrestling for a couple years. And
you can't find anybody in Arkansas that can help you learn arm wrestling, so you called me.
Right. Yeah, I've not been able,
not a single person in Arkansas.
Totally non-existent so far.
There's a dearth of arm wrestling in Arkansas. There's no monsters or gorillas at all.
Not that I've heard of them, but I've never.
They're myths. They're like Sasquatch or fat-free pizza.
Right. So I've been training now for arm wrestling for 4 to 6 months, I would say. Bought all this stuff that you see specifically just for arm wrestling. And so I've been doing the conjugate method, kind of what you recommend, for a few weeks now. And just want to ask questions about, if I'm doing stuff right or if it's just totally wrong. And I'll ask those questions as we go. But right here, you'll notice I'm using a bunch of different handles for speed day. And it's also,
at this particular point, you've only got one handle. And this is your speed day?
Yes.
All right. So let's go back and look at that a second. So tell me your setup for speed day.
So I'm just trying to go fast, I guess, and I'm hooking a band up to the carabiner, and then right here I'm kind of playing around with different bands because I'm not sure which band to use, if I should be longer or shorter, and I'm just trying to go as fast as I can and then lift up and then hit back into it as fast as I can as well. So that's kind of the thought process.
Your technique is spot on. Your setup's got a little issue with it. You know what it is? Because right now there's I have 3,000 subscribers, 2,998 of them are screaming at the computer right now because they see what you did.
I'm going to guess didn't set my band up right.
Yes. Okay. What you got? Ooh, that's a good one. Here's your wrist wrench. Here's your band. Here's the weight. All right. On speed day, it's usually 60 to 70% of your max weight, which would be on your cable, plus bands. When you hook them in series like this, you're only pulling the band tension. Okay. What you need to do is this band has to be connected in parallel to the weight. So when power lifters bench with bands, they tie the bands to the barbell and to the ground.
Right.
Fortunately, if you go to what might be the sexiest website on the entire internet, which is the Todd Hutchings, excellent, which is how you contacted me, go into the playlist. There is a video Right there, Todd Hutchings Speed Day setup. Here's a video which explains how to set up Speed Day. And I don't know if we can launch this, but if you launch this, look at these ads. Cha-ching. You know what? I've made almost $240 on YouTube so far. I am so rich.
And save time at work.
When you go to bed at night, turn my channel on and then just let the commercials play. So let's see. Let's zip, 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 zip. That's talking about the table. There's the scale on how to measure the bands. You guys need to watch this. Okay.
Straps tight.
Boom. So this red band, oh man, there's ads everywhere. Man, you would think I'd make a lot more money. This right here is the strap that carries the weight. The band is in parallel to it. So the handle connects to both of these. All right. The band should add to the weight. They're not in series.
So it's right here. So this is just a normal nylon.
We'll just zip through here. Brian, he talks a lot. My God, no wonder nobody watches these videos. I don't know if we can see it.
All right.
Then I added a chain. So now I got the strap and the bands on there. Look at all those ads. Man.
Yeah, it's good you showed me this because I would have just hooked it up to the weight stack on the bottom of my pulley system.
I'm gonna move this table.
So we will go back to, so anyways, new share. Let's get back to your video. Boom, 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 boom. This one. Share. Okay. So I think you got one of those pin stacks you put the dead weight on. What you need is this red band needs to hook to the cable.
Mm-hmm.
Your green band needs to hook to the red band and anchor it to your machine. So when you pull this gets longer too. So they're in parallel.
Okay.
All right.
And do you recommend a longer band or a shorter band?
Well, it depends on your setup. On mine, my bands are only about 36 inches long, and they're those black cargo tie down straps. They're really, really stiff. This band right here is really soft. This is probably only putting about 10 pounds of weight on. And I'm working with about a single band that I apply is almost 40 pounds of weight. So if you're gonna use these type of these expensive bands, you probably need they're in different colors. The mini blue, not the monster blue, but maybe even a large green. But if you double it up like this, I don't know. You'll have to figure it out. But
okay, yeah, I got pretty much every band. So
all right.
Well, I recently gave some away, but
yeah, I use the cargo bands because they have an S hook on either side. It makes it so convenient. So watch the Speed Day setup video and you'll get ideas on how to hook it up to yourself. But anyways, this red ring hooks here and the band hooks here and anchors to the machine as well. So they're in parallel. All right. Doing some wrist wrench work. What is your max on this exercise?
I don't know if I should be doing pure side.
Because you said you got 60
My
pounds
max?
on here. Yeah, what's your max?
so since I've only
You're doing
Yeah,
a
so
good
that's interesting. So today I just did a max effort day with the multi-spinner, which is a little bit different. And I think I maxed out at 70 pounds.
Okay, so if you're doing 70 pounds max, your speed day will be 60% of that. So 40 pounds of weight plus some bands.
Okay, so I probably did a little bit too much then. I don't remember exactly what I had on here.
It's just a starting point. Start there and then add weight.
I know this hurts my elbow like you've never seen. Like it just
I would never
fucking
do
hurts.
this myself. I would never put the band directly in my hand. I mean, if you took this blue band and took it over the top of your hand. So, man, for all the videos I do here, you'd think I would have a, we'll pretend it's the strap. So if this pink strap is your blue band, I wouldn't mind if you grabbed it like this or grabbed it under like that.
Right.
But a lot of people I see grab it like right in the middle, but that takes like your hand almost completely out of it. And the hand is the weak spot on most people.
Right.
Then I even see somebody hooking around their wrist, which generates huge numbers because it's short, it reduces the leverage on your elbow by about 6 inches out of 18. So,
right.
I mean, you can do this if you want, but I would recommend not. You got enough handles. There's really no reason to do this movement at all.
Yeah, and for this speed day, I mean, it was I think it was like my second speed day ever. So I was really just trying to experiment with different handles and see what was comfortable. And
Yep.
and I'm not sure really. Whenever I do side pressure, the thing that I'm not really sure of is like how much supination I should be adding, or how much pronation I should be adding, or how much of my shoulder I should be committing, or if it's just
do whatever you got to do on match day to set a PR. So yeah, your setup's wrong. You're changing this is kind of like a wobbly weight. This might be something good for volume day, to hook the straps up like that, where it's really wobbly and unstable. But
right.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that for speed day or volume day. Oh, and you got 2 different size wrist wrenches. Good for you. Now you can max out with both of those. Those count as 2 separate exercises. The little one and the big one.
Okay.
Those are 2 separate max days.
Okay.
All right. Anything else I need to see here?
I think that's good. It's pretty much just a bunch of this for the rest of the speed day.
Oh, we'll see. So correct your speed day setup.
And then right here, parallel. I just had a couple of issues editing, but my tripod is basically just send me the raw video right now.
I don't mind fast forwarding, zooming, cutting things out. I am a highly proficient social media mogul. What's going on here? Why is that blink? What are you like? Is the mothership calling you or something? Is that Enterprise? Your engineer back?
That's just my watch. It measures my heart rate, but I don't use it when I'm working out.
It measures your heart rate when you're not wearing it?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, that's got to be accurate.
I should probably wear it when I'm working out.
Maybe it's measuring the heart rate of that little kid that crawls through here later.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's probably pretty high because he's an excited kid.
I've seen a lot of people with these machines, so they must be cheap.
Yeah, they're about, I got it, I think it's like $200 off Titan Fitness.
I see a lot of people where they have to reinforce this bar because they bend it. And these uprights tend to, what I've noticed is they sometimes flex, and that you need to keep them lubricated and stuff just to keep them going on. These things, they don't seem they seem fine when you got light weight on them, but as soon as I see people really loading them down, they tend to flex and bind up and get a little sticky. So just be aware that you might have to reinforce this somehow. I don't know how, because that's a big, long Euler buckling problem right there.
Right.
But they are popular, so we gotta learn to live with it. I myself am blessed with a very expensive universal pin stack that somebody loaned me. Dave Dutton loaned me. Dave Dutton loaned it to me, and his wife saved my life. You know what? I have this tendency of the wives of arm wrestlers to save my life. John Brzezink's wife saved my life once from freezing to death, hypothermia, and then Lauren Dutton saved me from I think having a stroke once. So
oh my God.
Yeah, I would not be a good pioneer, because the women are constantly saving my life. Women married to other guys are like constantly saving my life. All right, let's see. When we switch to max day, no, this is still speed day. Okay, multi-spinner time. Can I ask you a question about this?
Yep.
Do you know what my question is? Because everybody in the audience knows. You see where it says my internet connection is unstable? But
I think maybe, why are you wrapping it like that?
Yeah,
maybe?
Why the hell are you wrapping this strap around your hand? What are you doing?
I do not know how to wrap it. So
don't wrap it around your hand ever.
No?
No, just, you know what? Sing a song, or I gotta run downstairs. It's gonna take me like a minute to go get my multi-spinner.
All
Sing
right.
songs or tell not dirty jokes, but tell like PG-13. You got a little kid. Tell jokes that your kid thinks funny. I'll be right back.
And my son just thinks your mom jokes are funny, so I don't know if that's a great idea. Yeah, so I guess Todd's gonna go get that multi-spinner and show me how it's done. Maybe I could do the chicken dance that Todd does, you know. I don't know how to do that either. Let's see. So I will be recording better videos going forward. I have this little thing right here. It kind of just follows you around.
Oh my God, that's a lame joke. I didn't even hear the setup. That joke sucks.
All of my jokes are not PG-13. So
You have a little kid. You gotta have jokes that are funny.
He likes your mom jokes. That's what he likes.
Take your multi-spinner, wrap it so you're pronating it. Grab the multi-spinner under the strap. If you have to put your thumb on top to stabilize it, like that. I don't know, when you people wrap this around your hand, for whatever reason, then you just took, the whole point of the multi-spinner is to strengthen your hand so that you can fire your strength through it. So, and your wrist wrench, the same way. I see people with a wrist wrench and they put the strap around the back of their hand. Just stop doing that. Okay?
So I got the idea of wrapping my hand from like a Devin Lorette video, I think.
Yeah. So, hey, if you want to go talk to the maple syrup chugger, that's fine. Okay. But on this channel, we don't wrap our hand with our multi-spinner.
All right.
So if you're
Next time I'm not
pronating
gonna.
it, that's fine. If you're going to supinate your multi-spinner, just grab the the whole point of the multi-spinner is to force you to curl your hand. When you wrap the strap around your hand, that allows you to open your hand because there's friction on it. You don't have to control the handle anymore. It's you're not the first, but I know I'm just going to record that little spiel because I give it to a lot of people. A lot of people, hey, this is, I'll go, wow, I'll say my PR on the multi-spinner is like 80 pounds. Somebody will say, well, I can do 140, and they got the band wrapped all the way around the wrist. So you're basically pulling down here. All right.
The cap on your multi-spinner, is that so it doesn't slip off?
Yeah, it's not glued on, but in the beginning, like my multi-spinner is homemade. It's also old.
Mine was ordered off Arm Assassin.
Yeah. Well, I don't make big professional arm wrestling money like you do. Here's my multi-spinner. It's a piece of
I tried to make my own.
that
Actually.
I had.
It just turns out I'm not good.
I cut a slice in it with a hacksaw. Took a nylon strap and tied a knot in it. All I did was slide it down through here. Now that's basically your multi-spinner. I used to have hockey tape on it, but I wore it all off and I never replaced it. I just squeeze it tight enough now to hold it. I don't care if the weights go down. But what happens, and you'll see when you max out on speed day, it's not so bad. But when you're really hitting max day, especially me, my wrist flops back. And if that strap comes off like that, I mean, that will kill one of my cats. I mean, if you got like 80 or 90 pounds on it and that whole handle flips out of your hand, it's like a missile. So by putting that cap on it, it just put a little ridge on it. I suppose I could have just carved a groove in it or something, but you know.
Well, that's basically what happened to me. You'll see it probably later in the video, but that happened to me on my left hand. I was using the multi-spinner on max day and it just slipped right out of my hands. So
that's how you know what max day is. And
it hurt too. Like it actually just hurt my arm.
It's that rapid release. So
see right here, I was kind of uncomfortable using the multi-spinner for speed day because I wasn't sure if I should try to just hit the bottom to the hit the
Your
bottom on the
speed day is
table, or
going to
if I should
feel
just go all the
completely
way.
different. When you set your speed day up correctly, it's going to feel completely different. So all we learned from that last tape was don't wrap the hand and set your speed day up correctly. Now this is max day, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do this anymore. I mean, unless you're Canadian, right?
Right.
Are you some kind of socialized medicine? Let's see, what else are Canadians known
I'm
for?
definitely a capitalist.
All right.
American.
You get so you don't buy milk in plastic bags.
Oh God, no.
Okay. So if this is max day, it won't be that fat. That's awfully late.
So that's my warm-up basically.
Yeah. 70 pounds, I think I just heard.
Yep. I think I don't know if I got too much further than 70.
70 is not bad on a multi-spinner. Although if you're gonna wrap the strap, if you're gonna wrap the strap around your hand, 170 is not bad either. You know, we're trying to approximate arm wrestling. This doesn't approximate arm wrestling. Okay, here's another thing on max day. Boom. Oh. And I have a video on the channel about max day starts from a dead stop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You've actually got the weight off the ground before you moved it. So that's kind of like a squat. You've loaded up the body. Max day starts from zero load. So when your hand is at zero movement, there's no weight on it. So you don't preload on max day.
Okay. So what I've been doing is kind of just pulling the weight almost to a starting position as though we're going to do ready, go. And then I just curl in and.
Yeah. No loading on max day.
Okay.
And that's explained in the how to let's see if I can find it. Since we got time. We'll go here. Let's see. I want to go. How do I get back? If I hit that, here is. How do I get to my playlists? Let's go back again. Okay, playlists. Let me put on some eyeballs. Well, this is my playlist. All right. Corey West. There's the Emu. Speed Day. Squats and deadlifts.
Oh, bottom left, maybe.
Maximum effort day. View full playlist. There it is. Arm wrestling training, maximum effort day setup and advice. This will tell you how to set up max day, change your goals, but you start max day at zero load. That's the one rule. Because when you start preloading, it's too easy to cheat and you can't consistently cheat that way. So you have to start at zero load. Because if you load it all the way up, you can short rep it and push your weights way up, and then all of a sudden you switch and it comes down. So it's very important to start max day. Max day should simulate a deadlift, not a squat. Okay. Because deadlift the weights at the floor, you're not preloaded. So max day is.
And really, I don't know if it's because, this particular pulley system or whatever, but the initial just pull, that's probably, it's really hard just to get
probably 20 or 30% harder because kinetic friction is 10% is like 20 or 30% less than static friction. So it's definitely, so you got two things going. Static friction is higher than kinetic friction, and you are actually accelerating the weight, and force is mass times acceleration. So taking 100-pound weight and starting it moving takes more than 100 pounds. Once it's moving at a speed, it only takes 100 pounds to maintain it. So you're accelerating it from 0 feet per second to something that takes over 100 pounds. Once it's doing something, as long as you don't increase it, it doesn't take more than 100 pounds. So on max day, just so you, let's see if you can do that one again. We'll just talk about some variations you can do on max day with. So you could use your wrist wrench. You can use your multi-spinner. You can wrap it pronated. You can wrap your multi-spinner supinated. And you can spin you can pull pad to pad or peg to peg. So with one handle, that's 4 max days, right? Pronated pad to pad, pronated peg to peg, supinated pad to pad, supinated peg to peg. That's 4 max days with one handle. Okay, you see that handle shaking like that? That's weakness in your hands.
Mhm.
You're actually weaker in your hand than here. So what we would do is we will throw volume on your hand, and instead of trying to make it all complicated with the wrist curls and stuff, just wrist curl from this position.
Okay.
So when you're done doing your max effort day, grab it just like that and do nothing but wrist curl right from there.
Okay. So no,
lock your shoulder in and everything, just the wrist.
okay.
You've already maxed out, so you worked your arm. At this point, we're going to throw volume on just that. So if you're doing 80 pounds as a max effort, you're probably going to do 10 or 15 and just wrist curl it like 10 or 15 times, 4 or 5 sets. So 3 to 5 sets, whatever. You're a young guy, maybe 18 sets. But
would you do that like after speed day?
You do that immediately after speed day and max day. Yeah, whatever you did on speed day, that's the very next thing you do.
Okay.
You don't even change the setup, you just drop the weight. Same with max day. But that's definitely hands, that's definitely a weakness in your hand.
I think that was like 82.
Oh, look at this. This is so adorable. Not this, that's pathetic. That's your elbow breaking.
Should have had my son do some pull-ups. He could do them. It's pretty cool. He's probably stronger than me pound for pound. Which I don't know if that's too impressive.
Let's see. We're pronating. I don't know if there's much to see here. We know you have the weak spots your hand. We know we don't want you preloading. So those are a few things to change. That's definitely a hand problem. All right, let's get into something sexy.
I was really trying to touch on here. So if I don't touch the multi-spinner on the bottom of the table, I mean, or on the top of the table, it's basically not a rep, right?
It's up to you. You define what max effort day is. I don't usually pin it. I usually decide what it is, and it's usually something higher than a pin, only because the leverage and the angles change. And in all honesty, if you can move it from 12 o'clock to 10 o'clock, that probably wins you the match. But going from 10 o'clock down to 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, the leverage, and that's usually where it'll flip out of your hand or something. So you just, you know, you just got to set a criteria to where you have a maximum amount of weight so we can keep pushing that maximum amount of weight up. There's no sanctioning body that determines proper multi-spinner lifts or anything. All right. We all got to kind of figure this stuff out ourselves.
Right.
All right.
The multi-spinner did come out of my hands at some point in this video, but
I think I skipped through it.
Yeah.
I've dropped all my handles. All right. So tell us what's going on here.
Right. So here with my buddy Mike, and we're just.
Where's Mike from?
I believe he lives in Oklahoma.
Oh. So
yeah,
you couldn't find anybody. You couldn't find anybody in Arkansas to arm wrestle. You had to bring somebody in from Oklahoma to arm wrestle.
Right. Exactly. And he is a lot stronger than me, I think. He's been arm wrestling like off and on, I think, for like 10 years or something, but he's very much, I don't want to say he's like still a beginner, but he's like, he hasn't really, competed like on his, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but seriously, I think he's done like 2 or 3 tournaments in that time, and he just kind of works out in his spare time and stuff. So
he's real strong here. He's real strong right the way it comes, but his form's kind of funny, and he looks slow. But yeah, I bet he feels like a freaking tractor.
Yeah, he's about 320, so he's big dude. He's like, and if you notice, his wrists his wrist is definitely thicker than mine.
So what are you trying? I know what he's trying. He's wrist curling and coming down. What are you trying to do?
So
Besides
besides
opening up your shoulder hand angle.
So I think for this practice, I was trying to do actually a few new things. Like I was trying to practice doing a hook. At some point, if you watch it all the way through, I'm trying to do let me see. Is that where he hit me right there?
I don't know.
So basically I'm just trying to top roll. I'm just thinking try to pronate and pull back. And he's just,
but you could, but what's funny, you're trying to pronate and pull back, but you're not capping. You're grabbing under your thumb.
Okay, so I should cap.
So this is what I don't know what you're trying to it looks like you're setting up to hook, but looks like your hand's trying to hook and this is trying to top roll. So
okay.
And it's
so
hard to
fix the hand position.
Well, and nobody cares about left unless you beat Travis.
Okay.
There's a few things you could do to try to beat him, but this guy is definitely strong. What you could do to train him, right, is take your green band, put it around your right shoulder, run it around your back, and put it on his hand. So he's got to pull you and the band, and that'll take a lot of the fire out of them. And now you guys can both train. But he is so strong here. You've got a couple of advantages. If you can't go and post up and completely bust him out of it, there's a method where you can kind of pistol grip him. He's gripping low. And then when you lift like that, he's trying to take his hand down. But if you're low like that coming up, it forces his hand out like that, and that will stop him from curling in. But you got to be somewhat close in strength. And this guy just looks like he's all kinds of, his hand is way stronger than yours. I don't know how much the rest of his body is, but we know your hand's weak anyways from the fact that it was wobbling during your max effort day.
Right.
So what you will see is a small increase in your hand strength will fix your stability issues. It will give you all kinds of confidence here, and it will open up options. But right now, you're just at his mercy because his hand is just crazy stronger than yours.
That's exactly how I feel. I can't even do it. I can't use my power basically.
Yeah. You could try and press him, but yeah, I mean, here's the deal. He's coming down low, but you're low too. I mean, he wants to be wrist to wrist with you. And you're giving him wrist to wrist. All of these knuckles should be up here. You know what I mean? So when he's trying to come down, you're coming up and you're pulling him palm, you're pulling him palm to palm instead of wrist to wrist.
So should I try to like regrip, I guess, and pull?
No, you shouldn't start here. You don't need to regrip.
Okay.
No, you should grip, not regrip.
Right. Well, if you watch, like basically he does. We are kind of fighting. I don't know. In practice, like, should we try to get a fair grip, I guess, starting out, or
practice is like sparring or scrimmages or skills. It's not, don't keep score, right? And don't use it to gauge your strength. Now you're dumping your see, that wasn't too bad. You didn't know what you didn't know. So
right there, I tried to press him a little bit earlier, and he basically just said, "You are so weak like this. Just stop." So I don't know. I guess I have no pressing strength
in this position. If your knuckles are going to be down with your wrist here, you're keeping him flat. The only issue is this is you here. You need to be way down. So if this is the elbow pad, right? Instead of you being here, you need to be way back, right? And that will stop him from curling that hand down.
Right. And that's one thing I struggle with, I guess, whenever I practice. I don't know if my body should just be up high with my hand, or if I should lower my body, or if it just depends on the context of
Your
who I'm
body's up
fooling and
high
their
with your
arm and,
hand. If you're
things
hooking
like that.
if you're hooking like he is, your body's up high. If you're top rolling like Travis, your body's down low. If you're hooking or top rolling like John, your body just moves as one, because John's like the most efficient arm wrestler ever. A geek, followed by Jerry Caderet.
Right.
Jerry Caderet is very efficient. His body posture changes very little for what he does.
Yeah.
That's typical practice douchebaggery right there, isn't it?
Oh, is this when he hit me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to give a little bit of context, we're kind of just setting up here, and I'm just still trying to set up, and he just goes, and he just hits me real hard, and it fucking hurt, man. I was a little bit
Hey,
pissed
this
off.
is a family channel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fornicated hurt.
Sorry. Yeah. But I told him, and I think he didn't mean it. He just got kind of into it.
It's all right. That's what practice is, man. People.
But before that, I hurt my arm. So
you'll be doing that to him in a couple of years. So don't worry about it.
I hope so. Before this, basically, I did a rock climbing, like maybe a day or two before this, and my arm was already kind of hurting from that. So
your arms are going to hurt for you. You're doing your JM presses, right?
Oh yeah.
How many days a week?
I'll do them on like just Thursdays.
How many days a week have you been doing them?
Just one day a week.
Oh
yeah.
Should I do them? As a beginner, you should probably do them more than once, but
okay. So right here, I feel like I was doing pretty good. Is this like a low hand top roll, or like what
I don't know if there's a such thing
I don't
as
even
a low
know
hand top roll, but let's just go back and look at that.
Okay.
Okay. See what you did here? See where your wrist is?
Yeah.
Okay. Now look. See how his hands, look at this. He's got this curled all the way in, and your wrist is right there. You're now palm to palm because your wrist is attacking his fingers.
Right.
So you have the necessary instincts to beat this guy, right? So what you need to do, tell him what you're doing here to make him stronger, because this is a very good training partner for you. As he gets stronger, you'll get stronger. But
right.
This is a very good top roll for you. And this would be even better if you would drop this down a little bit and get even more height. Okay.
Okay.
If you got a little bit more height by dropping down and getting this even higher, there's no way he should be strong enough to take those little fingers and curl you in from here. The only reason why he can is you're still a little too up and down. You're not way up in the air. So watch how Travis does stuff like this. What John would do from here is he would drive these knuckles and he would curl in and drive all side pressure, but he would turn his body. You're square to the table, so you need to bend your knees and get your triceps on the pad, get this hand up like Travis does. John would be a little more angled with a shoulder in.
Right. Okay. And is that called posts basically when you're doing that?
Posting is when you go straight up back. You're set up to go back. You're kind of leaning over like you're going sideways. But if you're going sideways, your shoulder should be this side of your hand. So you got a couple of different things going on, but just this hand position has compromised him. And he is able to curl you in because you weren't going backwards, you're just going side. But for a brief instance there is sunshine. Oh, you had his hand. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I feel like as the practice went on, I kind of had a little bit more endurance.
Boom! You got his hand. So then what'd you decide to do?
Then he just I don't know, he took it back or something, I think.
You had his hand and you decided to give it back to him. You're so nice. A strong hooker like this does not care if you got him palm up. He only wants that wrist, those fingers curled in there. When you had his hand compromised, that's when you had him. Yeah. This guy, I got a feeling this guy, if he can get his hand in, he could take you from the pin pad and bring you over. He's that strong. He's that strong against you today. A year or two from now, it'll be different.
He's really strong. I'm interested to see him compete in a tournament because I think, yeah, he's pretty strong.
Well, bring him to a tournament. You guys are training each other. See, his grip's kind of wrong. You shouldn't lock your thumb on top of your finger like that. But yeah, he's just brutes. Of course, you did it too. God, this is the problem with amateur classes and novice classes, because amateurs and novices train each other in these classes, and they both, and these bad habits spread like a real virus, not like COVID, which is fake, but like a real virus, like Cyrus the virus. But this
I think what you got to do is just make a good video on how to top roll, and where specifically, like,
I'm the last person in the world that can teach anybody how to top roll. I know what a good top roll feels like, but I can't tell anybody how to do it. I mean, I know what ain't a top roll.
See, so right here, he's grabbing my thumb real good, and I'm trying to just reach up higher, basically.
Yeah, but he's just grabbing you like he's milking a cow. Neither one of you are. You should be, if you're top rolling him, you should be you should be capping him, whether you're top rolling or hooking him, because he wants to be wrist to wrist. Because see how tight he is. See the distance between his hand and shoulder. Nod your head if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he is so close. Look how far away you are. You're 50% farther away from your hand. So all he wants is to get a purchase on that, and he's going to push you over with your shoulder. If you're going to you got to keep him off that wrist. You have to cap your thumb and put some pressure up here. Right now, your pressure is going right through the middle of his hand, which means that hand's going to curl around. Just by capping is going to move where you apply the force from here. It'll move it like half an inch. But that half an inch is a difference between him wrist curling you and him flop wristing pressing.
So basically just moving my fingers over my thumb.
Yes.
Okay.
And keeping your knuckles high, or dropping these knuckles all the way down, still cap, drop your knuckles and pop your wrist out against his fingers. See, if you could take this knuckle right here and elevate it half an inch, he couldn't curl you in. And make him watch this video. So like I'm coaching to both of you. This is just an odd position how he hunches over and looks straight down. Man, I'll tell you what, if this guy came to Lowell, Ohio, man, I would make this guy so much better in one day.
He's
brute strong. He just needs some technique. This right hip needs to be touching the table. I don't know why he's all. This is what novice. This is the novice class right here. He's just a brute strong novice guy. We got to get him. We got to fix him.
Does my technique seem pretty bad too, or is it like
you just look like a beginner? But what this looks good. Boom. Did you get it back? You had it for a second. I can't stop it.
Yeah, I think I was like defending, and then I kind of.
No, you're leading with your wrist. Boom. I missed it. When you led with your wrist, you rolled it and you flattened his hand. That's the way to beat this guy, is keep him out of that hook. Because he's doing everything he can to stay into that hook. Boom. You had it again. See, now you're rolling his hand out. See that? His wrist is flat because you're pulling from this part of your hand. You're not pulling from here. Had you capped, that would have moved this wrist another half inch up, and you would have attacked these fingers more. Right? Second, if you were going more backwards instead of sideways. Okay. So for this particular guy, you need to be doing this.
Okay.
Or dropping it and coming back. Either way, backwards. When you go sideways, he'll give you sideways if he can just catch you, and he'll drag you back. You need to be flattening this. You need to get his hand just like this and pulling him across the center. I wouldn't even be worried about pinning him. I'd try to pull this elbow off the front of his elbow pad by leading with your wrist. So take your wrist, try to attack his little fingers and pull him straight off the front of his elbow pad.
Okay. Yeah, and I actually noticed during this practice that when I'm just using pure, what I would describe as back pressure, I don't know if it's back pressure. I'm very confused on what back pressure is.
Okay.
Well, when I'm just pulling back, I feel like that's I do pretty well against them when I do that.
It's very simple. Force that comes from peg to peg is side pressure, and force that goes from pad to pad is back pressure. You're kind of doing a combination of both when you go corner to corner. Okay.
Right.
Inside pulling is a hook because you're leaning forward. So he's trying to pull inside. You're pulling outside because you're standing way outside the table. He's leaning way inside. See where your shoulder's way off the edge of the table and his shoulder is at the center of his elbow pad, for crying out loud. I don't know why he must really beat the hell out of people because he put this extra padding, these bumpers on, so when he pins people really fast, it doesn't hurt his elbow, his pin pads.
Yeah, I don't know what's going. I've never asked him about those, but
see, you from here at this point, okay, this is a typical Jerry Caderet move. If you bent your knees and dropped down, you would completely flip his hand over. You would be in a full-on Cobra Rhodes move. You'd have his whole hand if you just dropped down and got some height. And boom! What a way to end.
and then I actually fell down on the floor too.
Weren't you holding on to your peg?
I guess, I don't know. I guess not. But I was trying everything to pin him, man.
Well, you got it.
Pretty much stopped after that. So,
but don't keep score in practice. Learn, yeah. All right. When you figure something that works on him, tell him. What else we need to talk? Want to recap some few things?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess just as far as when I'm practicing or when I'm pulling, so when I'm setting up, I guess my instinct is just kind of to put my, let's see, if I'm pulling with my right hand, I'm kind of moving my left shoulder to the diagonal.
Your right shoulder, whatever hand you're pulling with, that shoulder should always be closer to the center of the table than the other one. You're never backwards. You're always this way. Okay. Whether you're top rolling, hooking.
And that's with the top roll.
It's with everything. If you are arm wrestling right-handed, your right hip touches the table. Your left hip is away from the table. So your right shoulder is always closer to the center of the table than your left. So when you're standing at the table, when you're arm wrestling right-handed, the ref should be trying to turn you around. You want to start this way.
Okay. Then I've been doing probably the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Well, you're very square here. He's angled. See how his shoulder's back and his right one's in? You're square.
So I guess whenever someone's hooking you and I want to top roll, what
go? All right. So like I said, his right shoulder's in, his left shoulder's out. Your shoulders are square. His right shoulder is actually behind his hand, but your right shoulder looks like it's in front. So not only are you square to the table, you look like you're off, where he's angled to the table to exaggerate it and in. So his sideways pressure is coming from his body. You're trying to do yours through your elbow tendons and stuff, which would be a very difficult, that's a tough row to hoe. Is this a doom buggy in the background?
Yeah, it's a go-kart.
What size motor's in it?
I don't know. It's for children, so it's not very big.
A kid must love it though, right? I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah.
it's like a 2 horsepower Briggs or something, he probably loves it. All right, what else you got?
Yeah, I used to have a go-kart when I was a kid too. So in this instance right here, just since we got it frozen right here, or paused, really my shoulder should be more like this, I guess, or like.
Your right shoulder,
Mhm.
first, your right hip should touch the table.
Okay.
Your left hip should be back. So that turns your upper body in, right?
Right, like this kind of, right?
Yes. You're opposite.
Okay, so and that's in any kind of arm wrestling you're doing, you want to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
That'll allow you to pull with this part of your shoulder. I mean, if you're going pure backwards, you could theoretically square up to the table parallel like that because you're firing back, but you could do that angled in a little too. So there's really no disadvantage, but you never want to stand like what you're doing. And your shoulder's on the wrong side of your hand. Your hand is closer to this peg than your shoulder is. So you're out here, you're not here.
Right. Okay. One I guess I don't know if it would make sense to talk about it here, but just if there's just obviously it's going to be contextual and different pullers and different styles are going to change, but is there a good way to tell, like, if you're doing a top roll and someone's going to hook, what is the best defense against that? Or if they're both,
if you're going to top roll and they're going to hook, you have the advantage. So always top roll, always be the top roller. If you're in a band, always be the singer. And if you're in a match, always be the top roller.
Okay. Let's see. So right here, my elbow is like pretty close to the front of the pad. And like, should I be pulling that back? Like, should I always be thinking, pull my elbow back? Or
in a real match, yeah, but this is practice. So there's no ref setting you up.
Right.
I mean, his wrist ain't straight. You know
Right.
what I mean? He's not square to the table. I mean, there's a lot of shit wrong with this match.
Oh yeah.
This is not a legit start.
Yeah. Yeah. In practice, I feel
practice.
Like he is
keeping score in practice. All right. If you watch John Brezink practice, he ain't whipping everybody's butt. Right? He's grinding out where the other guy's strong. It's practice. Right. It's not a tournament. Don't keep score. Okay.
Right. If we wanted to, is this a good way to practice, or would it be better if we just say, like, okay, I'm going to practice this angle or this lane of top roll. Just give me just enough to where I can still pin you, but just, where it's not, I guess, where it's like maybe where you're practicing just pure technique as opposed to, or is that just not realistic?
I think it's too hard. I think that makes it practice too complicated. I think you should go to practice and you decide whether or not you're going to hit or not hit. Most people don't hit, they just grind it out. So you let him get everything he wants. You try hooking him, try top rolling him backwards, try top rolling him sideways, hooking him high, hooking him low, pressing him. You just work on whatever you want and let him do what he wants to do. If you want to do ready goes, you could negotiate a fair grip, get like a random game timer on your phone that just goes off at random amounts and use that to say go, because it's too hard to have a straight up ready go when someone's just ready. But you need to work on hand control. You don't need to work on the one thing nobody has to work on in practice is pinning. The one thing everybody works on in practice is pinning. You do not have to worry about pinning. When you're in practice, arm wrestle between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
Right.
Move, regrip, move. If you feel strong and he can't resist it, then try something else. Yeah. But it's practice. It's sparring, right?
Mhm.
If you were a boxer, you wouldn't like try to get a referee in there when it's you versus the punching bag.
Right.
You can kind of negotiate how to spar with a punching bag without all these rules. That's what
Right.
arm wrestling practice is.
What do you think about ready goes in practice? Is that something that you
I
should
love
maybe
them. I think
practice,
that's the
or-
only way people should practice, but it
Okay.
takes 3 people.
It also, I mean, like, well, I don't know. I guess so. In this practice, he did a ready go without ready go.
So then it's
It
not a
was-
ready
it was
go.
not
Then
ready.
it's not a ready go because you weren't ready.
and it basically hurt pretty bad. But like, I
Hell
guess
yeah, it
would be.
hurts. That's why you don't pin beginners in practice. I
So I
hate it when I
felt-
see people beating up the beginners, and there is no reason to ever pin a beginner in practice. I think everybody
I don't
should
know if it's-
practice ready goes, and if somebody's way stronger than the other person, put a rubber band on them so that you can both do ready go.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the only way people should practice.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like tendon, but when he did that, I felt pain all through my shoulder, all the way up and down, from my hand all the way to the shoulder, just like a string pain. I don't know if that's a proper description, but
Well,
it
you
was
tore
interesting.
up a whole bunch of stuff because you're starting out and a lot of this stuff's new. You probably have small tears in in every tendon in your arm.
Right. And those will heal over time, I assume.
AM presses will fix 90% of them.
Okay. Which I want to emphasize, he didn't have ill intent to hurt me or anything.
We all watched it. He wasn't mean.
Yeah, it fucked me up though. I mean, God, excuse me.
Yeah, this is a family channel. Is this it? No. You almost had him there.
Yeah, that's just me giving up and like, God damn, this guy's strong.
Language.
Sorry.
I think they'll forgive you. Oh, you're holding on to it. It was probably right here.
Just replay it about 30 more
Stop
times.
pinning the beginners in practice. There's no reason to smash people in practice. They didn't teach it. I mean, if you're going to do a ready go, get a third person there to set it up.
Yeah.
I
think
saw a
he just
taller
hit me with
person
pure
come
side
in.
pressure too.
Huh?
He just hit me with like pure side pressure too.
That little kid in there could have given you a ready go. You guys could have negotiated a fair grip. Then you could have just told that little boy, say ready go.
Right.
No, the third person doesn't have to be an arm wrestler. It could have just been somebody besides one of the two of you saying go.
Right. And that's another thing too. Like, what is, I guess, since you always hit with pure side pressure, but or it seems like it anyway. What's the best defense against pure side pressure? Like
A top roll. Top roll is
Okay.
probably the greatest arm wrestling move ever, which is why all the fruity butt people do it.
that's why I'm all in.
I would definitely top roll if that door is open to you.
Okay. Is it it's back, like pure back pressure, good defense against pure side, or
A top roll is a good attack because it does a couple of things. You pull the match to your side of the table, right? Your knuckles are going up, whether you're doing the East Coast or the West Coast style. Your knuckles are high. Your wrist curling. I mean, it's like all the best practices in one move. Top
Right.
roll is just it's probably you know, I guess you could argue the King's movement, but you can't pin anybody from the King's move. From the King's move, you got to transition to something else. So no, I mean, I think arm wrestling evolved to generate the top roll because it's probably the most efficient, best move out there. It doesn't work if you're shorter than the other guy by about 4 or 5 inches. It's real tough to top roll in that case.
Yeah, yeah, this guy's taller than me. I think he's like 6'3". So.
Yeah, but you guys are close enough that you could top roll. If you were 5'11" and he was 6'3", that's a little bit different.
Right.
And he's hooking anyways. You could top roll him because he's coming towards you. When he arm wrestles, he's tailor-made to be top rolled because he's coming to your side of the table.
Right.
He's leaning forward, his hands down, he's grabbing you on the wrist. This guy is begging to be top rolled. He ought to have a tattoo right across his forehead. Please, please, oh mercy, mercy, please top roll me. This tattoo right here is a Gaelic symbol that says I never go outside.
Oh man, turning me red.
He's got a big target on his chest right here. It says top roll me. If only this guy knew how to top roll.
And that's the thing. I've tried capping before and I just feel like uncomfortable, I guess. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know if that makes sense, but
well,
I should probably just practice it more.
The sport all of 1 year, so yeah, a lot of things are going to feel uncomfortable. First, you're set up all wrong.
Right. I'm gonna go to a practice this Sunday, I think.
When I see this, there's a lot of things we got to work on. When I see your speed day set up like
this. Is the actual speed, like, I don't know, did it look at like a decent speed, or should I lower the weight to get
you should lower the weight because you want to be at ballistic speed. You should be able to, let's go back. If you were pulling like this with this band parallel to this cable, you should be able to hit hard enough to throw slack into that steel cable. You should accelerate the weight high enough that the weight outruns the cable and bounces back down. Bam, bam, bam. It's you know, if you read anything on West Side Barbell, they call it ballistic repetitions or ballistic speed. You want to be hitting it so fast that the weights on the pulley outrun this cable.
What is the other end of the band supposed to be attached to? So I know you attached part of the band to
this carabiner hooked to the cable, right?
Yep.
The band hooks to this and is anchored to your weight machine.
Okay. Okay.
That's so perfect. if I pull the weight up 1 inch, the band gets 1 inch longer. So you're lifting the weight and stretching the band in parallel.
Right.
You hooked them this way. So I pull the band and it lifts the weight. And then they get out of sync. They're out of phase.
Yeah, and what was happening is
you need to be pulling them both together.
When I'd pull up to go hit again, it's almost like I'd lose tension and then I just feel all of the weight of the stack.
You did. I mean, this might be interesting on a volume day. The problem is you can't put any more weight than what this band holds, and this band looks like it's only worth about 40 or 50 pounds.
Yeah.
But now a stiffer band that might be interesting, but it also looks, I mean, look, I'm a big fan of the wobbly weights. I love wobbly weights. They move around a bit, but yeah, that was interesting. This is definitely not speed day. That's why we're here.
All right. Well, so I didn't record.
For what I am charging you, you have gotten way more than your money's worth out of this talk.
Oh yeah. I mean, I might have to get my money back, but you know, it's
save your receipts.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't record my last speed day. Well, I didn't do a speed day on Sunday, so my arm was hurting so bad after that practice. I just decided just skip it and then go to my max effort day, which was today. And
On my Facebook page, if you scroll back to around September, I posted 5 workouts in 5 days, which will rehab your elbows after a tough practice. When I go to a tough practice, it knocks me out of my weight training for about a week. I mean, not completely, but all my weights go way down. Scroll back through. I don't have the video series on my channel, but it's a combination of JM press, kettlebells, pull-ups, but it's all elbow rehab stuff. So go to my Facebook page, scroll back, and it's 5 workouts, 5 days. You just do that for 5 days. Your elbows and your arms will feel a lot better. You'll be back to lifting weights in a hurry.
So just do those and then skip, I guess, my normal.
Take 5 days off your normal routine, do the rehab. Every time you have a really killer practice like that. Now, if you practice all the time, I never had to do that. When I was practicing twice a week, I didn't have to do that. But when I was practicing twice a week, I wasn't working out 14 times a week either. So This is all the balance that everybody's got to figure out. We don't have a unified theory of arm wrestling yet. So, there's a lot of roads lead to, I don't know, free t-shirts, I guess. I don't.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So that's probably what I'll do then. I hate taking, off, I guess, of my normal workouts, but
don't think of it that way. You went to practice first. If you stop getting pinned in practice, your arms won't hurt so bad. So go to practice and say, look, stop freaking pinning me in practice until I've arm wrestled for a few years. Pinning a beginner in practice doesn't do anybody any good. It hurts the beginner, and most of the times it chases them away. It doesn't strengthen you, and it sure to heck doesn't strengthen the other guy. Just get an agreement you're going to arm wrestle between 10 and 2, or as soon as you hit 2 o'clock, give up. So he's not pinning. All of that soreness comes from you being locked up and they ripping you open. So as soon as you get to 2 o'clock, let them have it. And eventually they'll, if you can't trust the people to not rip you over, then just give it to them after 2 o'clock.
Right.
Because you need to be working on hand control and body position anyways. You fighting from 2 o'clock to the pin pad is absolutely not what you need to focus on. You need to focus on controlling the match, between 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. You need to boom, hit and get your position, whether you're going to hook or top roll or side pressure, whatever. That's what you need to be working on. So as soon as it gets outside that, let them have it.
Right. Okay. And I will. So that was my first practice that I've been able to. Been able to get together. Probably in like 3 or 4 weeks, it seems like. And so I was a little bit just out of practice as far as pulling an actual person. But I will. Someone actually messaged me on Facebook that they do practices in Arkansas, like a couple hours away.
Really? I don't know
Sundays.
anybody in Arkansas who arm wrestles.
Apparently this guy does. I mean,
you should get on arm bet. Arm bet, and I think Arkansas is a big black spot for arm wrestling. I don't think there's anybody down. If I knew somebody down there, I'd put you in touch with them. Louisiana's got a lot of good arm wrestlers.
What I would really like about that arm bet app is if it extended to a larger distance, because seriously, where I'm at, there's like nobody. So it's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. But
at this stage of the game, you don't need to be considering tournaments anyways. So look up people who hold practices. Jeff Hale's in Oklahoma. There's people who arm wrestle in Texas. There's a little short, fat, bald son of a bitch who I can't stand. And if I ever see him, I'm going to smash him into the ground. But the other people in Texas are nice. And just call somebody. And if you got to drive 6 or 7 hours for a practice, it would be well worth it to you at this point.
Right. I was going to do one tournament this month before, just to have my second tournament and see if I'd made any improvements from
you haven't.
Yeah. I don't think I have, honestly. I mean, a little bit, but I remember the dude's feeling pretty strong. On that
You
first
can't
day.
even beat the Oklahoma dude in the blue shirt. Tournaments aren't way. You don't need to be worried about tournaments right now. I mean, go to them if you want, if they're close. But seriously, man, it would be worth it to you to see if you couldn't call Ron Bath in Georgia or Dave Morocco in Maryland, or there are several people who practice in Ohio. I mean, there's my group that practices in Southern Ohio. Niles Anderson holds a tournament in around Dayton area. Joel Hudick and them up in Northern. The Michigan people have tournaments. I'm trying to picture where Arkansas is on the map. Like I said, there's people who arm wrestle in Texas. Jeff Hale's in Oklahoma. Just get on Facebook and find people. It would be worth it for you to drive several hours to go to it. You would be able to pull a bunch of people, talk to them, have them critique your form and stuff. And then it's going to take you 4 or 5 years to be a national level puller anyways. There's no sense in rushing the tournaments now.
Right.
I mean, pull all the tournaments that are local to you. But yeah, definitely don't
this
try
one's
me
only
for one.
a 2 hours away, so it's not too far. I'm going to be going 2 hours just to go to a tournament anyway, or I'm sorry, a practice, which I think it'll be worth it, because at this point, I mean, I practiced with that guy that you saw, and then there's another guy that we pull with who's also pretty strong. Not as strong as Mike, because he's just ridiculously strong. I mean, I don't know if compared to like quote unquote real arm wrestlers, but he's strong for me right now.
3 or 4 hours. I routinely drove 3 or 4 hours to a practice. When I was in South Carolina, I was driving 3 hours to a practice twice a week. So it was 6 hours of driving a week to go to practice.
Yeah, I think that's all I got today. Appreciate your time. Thanks for answering my questions. I'm going to be recording more videos.
We're going to fix the speed day setup first.
Yeah.
And we're going to fix our max day setup.
Yeah, which I will say, I just did a max day on side pressure, I guess, and just grabbing that freaking multi-spinner and getting it over to a good point is so difficult. Like that's probably the most
starting from
part.
A dead stop will probably pull 20 or 30 pounds off your max effort.
Okay, and it's worth it.
It's that much harder. I mean, if my max effort on the wrist wrench is 140 pounds, but if I'm able to load it up and then come back and I bet you I could do 30 pounds more. I bet you I could do 170. I can't do 170 from a stop, but if it's the difference between squatting and deadlifting, right? When you squat, you go down, it loads all that muscle chain, allows you to fire back out of it. When you're deadlifting, that weight seems real heavy that first inch,
right.
Because nothing is pre-stressed.
So should I be, just imagine, let's see, I got a water bottle. Just imagine this is, I'm grabbing it for the first time. I just go straight into here
I would grab it at a neutral, legal arm wrestling turn. I'd grab it right at the center of the table, just like that. That's zero load. And then you figure out what.
Okay, so I really just need to set up the pulley to where it's zero load right
at
here.
Neutral.
Basically. Okay, that makes sense.
Anything else?
I'm gonna have to join you with beer next time.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. Stay online.
All right.